Estimate the number of adults in the world. Basic maths, this number multiplied by 70 divided by 100. So you get 6 into 10 to the power 9. You have to give the answer in the standard form. The development of gum disease can be reduced by good oral hygiene. This is one example of a healthy lifestyle. Give two other examples of a healthy lifestyle that can help reduce the risk of CVD. In your classes, you have learned lot of risk factors and modifications of lifestyle associated with CVD. So, regular exercise, quitting or reducing the alcohol, diet with low saturated fat, low cholesterol, low LDL, low sugar, low salt, and having high fiber contents, high antioxidant contents in your diet, and quit smoking. Part C. Gum disease is caused by inflammation. Chemicals released into the blood as a result of inflammation are thought to cause damage to the circulatory system. The number of white blood cells present in saliva increases in the early stages of gum disease. In a study, Canadian scientists determined the correlation between the number of neutrophils in saliva. We know neutrophils are a type of white blood cell and damage to the circulatory system. The scientists took samples of saliva from volunteers in the study, determined the blood pressure in their arteries, and assessed the damage to their endothelial cells. Give the meaning of the term correlation. So we know the correlation means how much related two variables are. Or we can say a change in one variable is reflected as a change in the other variable. It was important that all the people in the study had similar blood pressure that was within the healthy range. Explain why this was important, because we already know that blood pressure is another risk factor for CVD. High blood pressure is damage in the blood vessels which can trigger a formation of a plaque. So already if a person is having a unhealthy blood pressure level, then it can affect the development of CVD. So the results will not reflect the effect of inflammation. So in that case, the results will not be valid. Calculate the blood pressure of a person who has systolic blood pressure of 11 kilopascal and a diastolic blood pressure of 6.7 kilopascal using the formula. This one, get the values and get the answer. The scientists assessed the damage to endothelial cells. Explain why damage to endothelial cells might be an indication that a person is at a risk of CVD. Because the damages to endothelial cells are triggering the blood clotting. The exposure of collagen is triggering the blood clot formation, and with time cholesterol deposits is causing a plaque formation and narrow the blood vessels or completely block the blood vessels. It can happen in different places such as coronary arteries, cranial arteries, peripheral arteries, so and so. According to that, we will get the type of CVD. So this is considered this reducing of blood flow to the respective organs. If it happens in coronary arteries, the blood flow to the heart will be limited. If it happens in cranial arteries, blood supply to the brain will be affected. Peripheral arteries, your limbs will not get enough blood. So, depending on the type, we can consider it as parts of CVD. The graph shows some of the results from this study. The study have produced these results, and you can see it's very much unclear. Initially, you might get panicked, but if you look carefully, it have been made easy for you. Earlier in this upper graph, you can see much scattered points, and they have summarized it in the second diagram as a low count result and a high count result. They have determined the low count of neutrophils as less than 2.5, count of neutrophils higher than 2.5 as a higher count, and they have kind of summarized the results for you to easily analyze. By looking at this diagram, you have to, these two graphs, you have to comment on the relationships between the number of neutrophils and the proportion of healthy endothelial cells of males and females in this study. So we can see whether it is males or females, we can see an increase of number of proportion of healthy endothelial cells when number of neutrophils or the neutrophil count is decreasing. And at low count of neutrophils, we can see the proportion of healthy endothelial cells value is more spread. And if you see the males, which are shown in these transparent box shapes, we can see the results of males are more spread than females. That means most of the men have a low proportion of healthy endothelial cells in low count of neutrophils, but in high count of neutrophils, more women have low counts of low proportions of healthy endothelial cells. And if you compare the low count and high count individuals, most of the men are in the low count neutrophils level. But the significance cannot be determined because the error bars are not there, and details of the individuals that have been taken, other risk factors except blood pressure, are not mentioned in the study.